Hello and welcome, I'm Stormo, and this is VIII, Lacrimosa of Dana. This is a role-playing game. It's actually the latest entry in the very long-running VIII series, and I've been playing a little bit of it. It comes out later this week. I have a review code for it, which is something I've been getting a lot of lately, actually, which is nice. But yeah. I've already been playing for a little bit, and I'm actually going to load my game. I'm actually even more advanced than this on a different playthrough, on another PS4. But I thought I'd play slightly early, because I'm fairly deep into the game on my other playthrough, so yeah, it's just a case of finding a good spot to come in. So, let's talk a little bit about the VIII series, because VIII is, oh boy, a long-running Japanese RPG series. Do I need to mix any of these things up? I can't. VIII is a long-running Japanese series. The first VIII game actually came out in 1987, which is the same year as the first Final Fantasy game. And it told the story of a red-headed swordsman by the name of Adol Christian. Who is, in fact, this guy. This is what he looks like in this game, at least. And Adol is actually, unlike a lot of JRPGs, VIII is interesting in that it's essentially continuing stories in each game. Each sequel essentially sees a new adventure for Adol, and occasionally this bloke shows up. Oh, no, not that bloke. Where's the bloke I'm looking for? This bloke shows up. This guy here, Doggy, who's been in... He was briefly in the first one, but he's been in, I think 2 is the first one where he has a major role, and then he's been in most of the others. 3, at least 2 of the 3 versions of 4. He shows up, I believe, in 5, in 6, and I think he is in 7 as well. I've never played 7, so I don't know for sure. But anyway, so yeah, this is Doggy, and yeah, he's basically the closest thing Adol has to an offsider, essentially. So that's really cool. So what's happening in VIII? Well, for a start, VIII, like a lot of the VIII games, you start off shipwrecked on an island in the ocean. And this is the island we're shipwrecked on. It is called VIII, and VIII apparently is a legendary island, because nobody's ever landed there successfully. And the island of VIII, apparently people who go near it get, like, they die and stuff. Ships sink and stuff like that. In fact, the game opens with us on a ship. While I check out this cool fishing minigame. This is the hardcore action that the VIII series is known for. I just wanted to do that because I saw that there. Wow, that was a terrible fish. Yep, that was awful. Okay, anyway, while we're here, let's just see what we're actually up to. Where am I going? Okay, and we'll head back to the map. Okay, so we gotta head... I remember where we gotta go. We gotta go that way. Yep. Okay, so... few things to note about this game, and the first one is that it is an action RPG. So the VIII series has always been an action RPG series. It's never had truly random monster battles, which makes it fairly unique, I believe, among Japanese RPGs. The earlier games are actually somewhat infamous for their combat system. Thankfully, this game has a pretty fun combat system. Actually, I've gone... This isn't the way to go. The games actually have a pretty fun combat system most of the time. But the early games in the series had this very odd combat system where you would essentially run into an enemy in order to determine what you would then do with it once you hit it. And basically, you had to sort of run into the enemy off-center in order to make it work. And so the result was that, I believe, you'd have a strong chance of success, but there was some randomness in the outcome of each contact collision. So that was kind of, well, cool's not the word I'd use, because it was actually apparently pretty frustrating in the early games. I've only ever played, very briefly played the original IS on an emulator, so I've never really had the experience of how bad it was. I believe I may have played, in fact, now I think about it, I probably played, I believe an 8-bit version, so probably, geez, it was a long time ago I did this. It was most likely the Famicom version that I played. But it could have been one of the remakes as well. And the first IS game, which is called, jeez, is it Ancient Is Vanished Omen, I believe is the correct name for the original Is. And that was followed by a sequel. And the interesting thing about the sequel to Is, the second game in the series, is that it actually follows from the first game. I'm not even kidding. It's a direct sequel in about as direct a way as a sequel can be. So that's a really sort of unique thing that the game has. I think we need to go this way, but in order to do that, we need to do a thing here. So I need to... This is going to teach us some stuff. So, anyway. So IS 2, which is called... oh gods, what's the second game called? Because all the IS games have, like, subtitles as well. I think it's Ancient Is something or other. Anyway, the point is, the second IS game basically leads on. The first IS game, you actually spend the whole game looking for the lost continent of Is, which is a floating continent that disappeared up into the sky. In the second game, you actually go there. And basically, you spend the first game assembling all the stuff you need to go there in the second game. And that was kind of how they went. And those games came out in 1987, 1988, and then there was a number of remakes of those games in the late 80s and early 90s. IS Book 1 and 2 on the PC Engine, which also came out in the regular PC. I think there was a couple of other versions. Not to mention, over the years, they've been remade to the point where there is actually on Steam, I believe, a IS 1 and 2 Complete, I think. And it gathers together the whole series, or the whole series, the first two games. Then in the early 90s, there was IS Wanderers from IS, which is also called IS 3. And it is effectively IS 3. That was followed up by two games called IS 4. Mask of the Sun and... I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. I don't have this list in front of me. Mask of the Sun and Dawn... Something or other Dawn, or Dawn of something or other. I forget exactly what it was called. But yeah, basically, what happened was Falcom essentially gave the rights to develop IS 4 to two different companies, and they both made a game called IS 4. That was followed up by IS 5 that I cannot remember the subtitle for, but IS 5 was basically made specifically for the Super Famicom, and it only came out in Japan on the Super Famicom originally. Unlike most of the other IS games, it was it didn't get a release on a different console until some years later, I believe. And then Falcom basically spent the next 5 or 6 years porting all the old IS games to other things, mostly to PC. There's a lot of different Windows versions, particularly of IS 1 and 2, and IS 3 to some extent, before they basically released a thing in the early 2000s that essentially created the canonical version of the IS storyline, and it completely drops Mask of the Sun, the PC Engine version of IS 4, for the other version. No, wait, it was Mask of the Sun is the version it canonized. It's the other version, which is apparently the better game. I've never played either, but apparently that's the better game, and it dropped that out. But for most of us here in the West, probably the first time we've heard of IS was in the early 2000s when the sixth game in the series, Ark of Napishtim, actually got a Western release on the PS2. In fact, I believe that might be the first time the game has had a European release. A lot of the time, these games don't have... a lot of these IS games never came out here. They only came out in the West. Well, they came out in the US, but they didn't come out in Europe. A lot of them. So, yeah. But yeah, so they came out in the West, and on the PS2 originally. I think IS actually first came out on PC actually in the early 2000s, and then they did a PS2 version. That version got released in the West. Sorry, IS 6. I think that's what we're talking about, wasn't it? I haven't been concentrating on anything about this game while I've been talking, by the way. I'm sorry about that. It's just how it is. But yeah, so then we had IS 7, which was actually just called IS 7. It didn't have a subtitle. In fact, 7 was the subtitle. And that was odd because it told the story from multiple perspectives and a few other things. I've never actually played IS 7. I've only read up on it. In fact, I've been researching the series a little bit, which is why I'm going through all this right now. I've been researching the series a bit because, as I said, I have review code for this game and I'm writing a review of it. And I just wanted to bone up on the IS series. I did actually have Ark of Napishtim, and I played a lot of that back in the day. And I had a look at some of the earlier IS games via emulation around the time I was playing that. That would have been about when I was doing that. But yeah. So yeah, IS 7 came out. And there was also IS Origin, which is the only game in the series that doesn't feature at all as a main character. It's actually set prior to the first IS game, like 700 years prior to the original IS. And it is basically the story of how the floating continent became the floating continent, I believe. Something like that, anyway. So that was, yeah, that's your potted history of IS. This is the 8th game in the series, if you don't count Origin as a numbered game, which it's not a numbered game, so... And this game is a little different. It's, like I said, the last game I would have played in the series as a going concern would have been Ark of Napishtim. And I actually had that both on the PS2 and the PSP version. In fact, IS 7, such was Falcom's success with PSP ports of the series. IS 7 was originally a PSP exclusive. I believe it's out on PC now, but in its original form, it did come out only on the PSP. So, let's talk about IS 8. And this plot of IS 8 is pretty much the same as the plot of most of the other IS games. Adult was on a boat, got washed up on an island, has an adventure. So the main thing, there's a couple of things with this game that I think are really interesting. First off, there's this whole base building aspect of the game. You probably saw at the start of the video, the base area we were in. That's actually a base that you build up as the game progresses, which is really cool. So you got to go out and find shipwrecked survivors. Basically, everyone was on a ship called the... I forgot the name of it. Geez, I really have forgotten the name of that ship. Lombardia. That was the name of the ship, yeah. Basically, you've got to go and find survivors of the ship. Now, the other task you actually have in the game, which I think is really nifty, because I'm a map nerd. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a huge map nerd. Is you have to build the world map. Over time, this will get bigger and bigger. And there's basically two maps. This is your sort of local zone map, and this is your world map. And one of the things you're tasked with in the game is actually filling this map out. Now, the cool thing with this, as you can see here, is it's hiding how big the map is by not letting me expand beyond this. But I know for a fact that there is much more to this map because I have played it. But the game won't actually let you go to the furthest extent of the map. So it's a nifty way of hiding the map zones. Now, the other thing you have in this game are these things. Basically special locations. You'll come across these. You get a cool cutscene. An impressive discovery on the Isle of Siren. It'll be an irreplaceable memory of this adventure. So that's cool. So far this game feels much more expanded and fleshed out than Ark of Napishtim. And most of the other IS games. I've read that IS 7 sort of lost its way quite a bit trying to be everything to everyone. Because one of the interesting things with the IS series is that the scope, sort of the storyline scope of the IS series is actually a lot smaller than most RPGs. It's much more about these sort of small adventures. The first IS game actually is very short, particularly by JRPG standards. It's, you know, I believe it's only about 5 or 6 hours long, and it only has a couple of towns and only a couple of major dungeons. In fact, the final dungeon takes up about half the amount of time you play the game. So the whole thing with these games is that they have this fairly small scoped adventures, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually really cool in a lot of ways, particularly because a lot of JRPGs have very big adventures. So now, once I kill this guy, which I'm gonna have to kill this guy as well. Okay, so I'm going to kill these guys quickly because I'm going to show you one of the cool features of this game that is actually a series staple. So let's stand still for a moment and pay attention to Adol's health bar down there in the bottom right. You'll see his health starts regenerating. Now, if you know anything about S, you'll probably know two things. One, it has fantastic music, a tradition this game has kept up. Two, standing still on the world map screen allows Adol to regenerate his health. These are actually things they've carried into this game. So this is the ability to regenerate your health like that by standing still is from the original S, and it is in most of the other games in some form or another. I think there's a couple that it's not in. I am convinced I could get to that flower if I wanted to. But the game will not let me. I can go all the way around this island though. Ah, okay. There's a treasure chest here too. Let me grab that. I should be able to get on that island surely. Why can't I jump on there and get that flower? Does it matter? It doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't matter. Let's head this way. So, I don't know for certain, but I believe this particular game is also was also released on PS3 in Japan. A lot of JRPGs get PS3 and PS4 releases because of the fact the PS3 over there is still quite popular. The PS4 hasn't quite taken off there the way it has in the West. Now, we're going to not go that way first. We're going to go around here. I love this section. I love the water. Look at how cool this water looks, by the way. Yeah, that's right. I want to get this. You can actually swim. You'll notice that I'm actually underwater and losing oxygen now. You can swim. You need to be in deep enough water to justify it, though. But yeah, this game very much feels like a PS3 port, and you've probably noticed as I've been going around, actually. I wonder what's over here. Is there anything over this way? Yes, there is. There's a treasure chest. Cool. I believe that the reason it's got these small sectioned off areas is solely for the PS3 version making concessions to PS3, because there's no reason the PS4 couldn't just have all of the areas we pass through as a single huge area like this. Yeah, let's go this way. We're going to come back to where we were before. Don't worry about that. That's fine. We'll get there shortly. We're just going to have to watch out because we are under some attack here. These things are tough, as you can tell. It's okay. I do have some healing items if I'm gonna need them. There we go. Flash moves. Yeah. So if you do essentially a just dodge or a just guard, you get flash moves or flash attacks. I'm gonna heal Adol here just to get his health back up. Unfortunately, you don't have regenerating health in combat. Of course, that would not be fun. Oops, I keep getting knocked down. Taking two of these on at once was kind of a mistake, I think. Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna need to heal again. That's annoying too, because those are good fruits, those. Oops. I think we got them. We got that one, we just gotta get this one. There we go. That was a battle. Should be able to get up here, I think. Oh, and there's a third one of them there too. So combat in this game is really fun. It's very fast, very fluid, but it also sometimes that happens. I'm just going to try and see if I can't get away from that so I can regenerate. If I can find a safe spot over here, I think I should be able to regenerate my health. Nope, they're coming at me. Okay, cool. Let's just not bother with this area for now. What we'll do is actually go back and do the whole thing we came here for, which is talk to this person. So this is the whole thing in this game about rescuing the castaways from the ship. That's basically what we're doing now. So this is a character that was on the Lombardia with us. You can actually, at the very start of the game, you can actually go through and talk to everyone that's on the ship. before you encounter them. But the game actually, interestingly, never tells you what their name is before you meet them here. So yeah, so to give you an idea, the other two characters we're carrying on, this is Lexa, who is a rich upper-class girl who we met on the ship, and then she's basically the first person you encounter after you get shipwrecked. And she's one of the 3 party members that we encountered. The other guy over there, Sahad, is the other of those 3, along with Adol. And there's actually a few others that we'll get as the game goes on, but you can only have 3 people in combat at any time. So you end up having to swap out who you want in combat. In fact, on my more progressed game, I actually have a different character in the place of Lexa, just because he's better at doing what she does. So we made it back to the island, and we brought her back, and she's good because she's a tailor, and she makes trinkets and stuff, which is great for us. So because you're castaways on an island, there's no, I guess, towns or villages, or at least I haven't encountered any towns or villages yet. And what that also means is that there's no currency. Basically, everything is done through basically a trade barter system. So you don't get gold or anything like that. You don't get coins or currency or anything like that. You have to, all the items you pick up, and you probably noticed while I was running around before that I was getting items from various sort of resource nodes on the map. And you need those because those are the way you get gear and equipment. Essentially, you'll encounter someone who is a blacksmith who will be able to build armor items for you. Although you can get, I did have a couple of items of armor drop as well. They did drop off, I think they came from treasure chests actually. But in general, everything is done, all your weaponry at least is done through the blacksmithing interface. As far as I can tell, anyway. I haven't picked up any swords that were better than that. So that's really cool, I think. And it's a little bit unique in that sense. I'll just say I promise to find him. I mentioned before too that I think this game is very clearly a upgraded PS3 game. It looks very much like a HD remaster of maybe a PS3 title. It runs at a very solid 60 frames per second, to the point where I haven't noticed any slowdown when I've been playing at all. It's nice and smooth. It looks great, actually, honestly. Like, the visual fidelity isn't great, and it's very clear that this is basically... I'd almost want to say it's a HD remaster. Is what it reminds you of, like one of those Final Fantasy HD remasters, like the Final Fantasy 12 one or something like that. Or actually, better one would be the Final Fantasy 10 one, which I think looks a little bit better than the Final Fantasy 12 one, but with much higher texture quality. You can see on Doggy's jacket there that the texture quality is a lot higher than it would be in one of those remasters. But you can certainly tell that it uses these much simpler models and stuff like that. Adol gets bit more detail than everyone else, but even then you can see the shading on his top there is all just painted on. It's not due to any kind of cool dynamic lighting. That said, the style is okay, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with a game going from PS3 to PS4 like that. Another good example recently would be Persona 5, which looks great on both systems. I think the only real downside in some aspects is that I feel like this game could have benefited from cell shading, especially because it actually has a fully animated opening intro that's just basically an anime, like a 2-minute anime intro, and then you get a game that looks like this. And I know cell shading is a little bit more complex, and you don't always want to spend the budget on doing stuff like that, but in general, I think that would have helped out. So that's kind of where I think this game's at in terms of its technical prowess. But as you can see, just walking around here, I'll just spin the camera around. You can see it's solid frame rate. And it looks great. I love the colour. Every zone looks fantastic. These really bright, vibrant colours. It's so nice to play a game that's just brightly coloured like this, to be honest. I mean, I remember years ago the old website UK Resistance got very upset about the time the 360 and PS3 came out, and there was that whole thing about real is brown. Every game had brown tints and everything looked very brown. And they had this whole campaign about blue sky in games, that we should bring back blue skies in video games. And their goal essentially was to bring back the skyboxes from the Dreamcast Sonic Adventure game, I believe. And this game very much has blue skies. You're on this tropical-ish island. The shoebill accepts fish, by the way. If I do this, give it some fish. Do I have any fish to give it? It'll give you, I think, yeah, I've got a Sedina. Gulp. Blah. What it actually wants is really good quality fish that you'll find as you go around the game. There's a path up here that I don't know what that leads to yet. Just like, nope, you can't go this way yet. So that's probably where the final boss is hiding, I imagine. Dogi over here with the parrot bird character that Little Paro, who we encountered earlier. Yep. Little Paro is kind of up himself, actually. Also, he's much more intelligent than any actual parrot I've ever encountered in real life. And I know parrots are smart birds, but Little Paro is basically a human. But yeah, so that's kind of the whole thing. Now, where do we go next? So, if you ever want to know where to go next, the map will always have a story destination. There's also these indicators, which usually are for those events like the one I had to open that that pathway up. They require you to have a certain number of survivors. Basically, it's gating areas off until you have a certain amount of survivors. I can enhance my weapons now, and I should do that, actually. So upgrading your weapons is a really good thing. Once we get the blacksmith, I'll be able to actually upgrade them even more. Every weapon seems to have 3 levels, and upgrading them does significantly enhance their damage, which is really handy. So, may not have the mats to upgrade everything else, but we'll get these upgrades out of the way now. It's fairly simple. As long as you've got the mats, you can do the upgrades. I'm low on iron ore, but I can probably grab some more by going down here and buying some. And I got a trophy for that too. So let's go in here and let's see what we can... Let's just get rid of all that. Later on, at the moment, so basically the materials we find outside, we can trade for better materials. Unfortunately, I don't have anything I need to trade for iron ore, so we're just going to have to live with that. We're going to head... Where was that map? Okay, well, we're going to head up that way. Once you get to them, you can actually teleport. These crystal things allow you to teleport around. So it's basically a fast travel. Oh, okay, I've got to go talk to someone first. JRPGs, man. Oh, I know what this is about. Yep. Okay, I know what this is about. There's actually a quest. In fact, while I'm here, there is also this notice board that gives you small side quests. And in fact, the game actually wants us right now to do that particular side quest, which is why it's not letting us leave. And yeah, we get these zone transitions and stuff like that. So we'll talk to Lexa. And she'll have some things to say. She's actually wearing a DLC costume at the moment, by the way. I'll change her back into her slightly less revealing normal costume. I just, it was one of the DLCs I got with the game. So yeah. Basically, yeah, she wants to know what she should do. And yeah, her and her husband, who, I haven't actually found her husband yet, but assuming he's a survivor like everyone else, I'm assuming he's alive, but of course, it could always go the other way too, I suppose. But yeah, let's do some tailoring. So she'll get set up a tailoring shop, and that's really good, because she'll actually make trinkets and certain kinds of armor as well, she can make. So yeah, a lot of the dialogue in this game is not voiced, but it is voiced. Japanese and English audio are both available. Obviously, I'm playing it in Japanese, because why would you not? Although, frustratingly, some of the Japanese voices aren't translated. There's a couple of things that get said that don't get any kind of on-screen translation, which is a little annoying, but I'm willing to live with that if I don't have to worry about English voice acting. But yeah, so I haven't even bothered with the English dub. The game offers you the option when you boot it up to play in Japanese with English, and I don't feel that I would want to play this game in any other way. So I'm sure it's got a nice dub. It might be good. The IS series over the years actually has had some infamously terrible dubs, actually. Yeah, basically she wants a bit of privacy for the girls, which is what she's asking for here. And yeah, we have to find Gentle Fiber, which we will find. So that'll be good. That's how we'll do that. In fact, do I even have... Sometimes you can get the mats for... No, okay, we don't, because we didn't get the option to do that. If I talk to her now, we'll see the tailoring interface. So basically, yeah, she can make a bunch of different things here. Amulets. Snake Amulet's really good. It protects us from poison. In fact, there's a whole bunch of resistance amulets that work really well. Interestingly, in fact, I can make those. Those are nice upgrades as well. Needle Wristband is actually pretty good too. Maybe I'll go with the Needle Wristband. And yeah, she can make these... I think these are costumes, which I'll explain in a moment. Clingy Picard. Okay. But I have to get a bunch of soft fibers to get all those things together. And these things as well. But what I will make actually are these needle wristbands, because these are pretty strong and they add a poison effect. And I can't make more than 2 of them. That's fine, that's fine. I can make the leather gloves though. Which will also be upgraded. Oh no, the wristbands are, yeah, okay, so let's go into the party menu and just have a quick look at the equip menu, because the way equipment works is you have a body slot, an arm slot, an accessory slot, and a second accessory slot. Then you have costume slots. So we have a bunch of different costumes. These actually change the appearance that Adol has. And one of the options for Adol is, of course, his classic silver armor from the original games. In fact, I think pretty much every other game he wears this kind of outfit at some point or another. It's Adol's sort of classic look. So we've got that. And he has this adventurer clothes, which I'm not sure. I think these are a reference to one of the other games too, but I don't know which one. I actually really like his default costume in this game. I think this looks fantastic. I think it sort of references the red armor that he's famous for, without sort of looking really dated like the red armor does. So I've actually really prefer him to wear this. As for Laxia, oh, hang on. Let me go across to Laxia. And again, she's wearing the Eternian Scholar costume, which I can take off, and you can see that's her normal default costume, which is a lot less revealing. I actually prefer the other one just for the colours, but yeah, it is a bit. It is a little bit revealing for sure. I don't know if Sahad or any of the other characters actually can have costumes. They have the slot for it, but I haven't encountered any costumes for them yet, so I don't know if they can. Those costumes, by the way, are free DLC. I think the Lexia one may not have been free, but yeah. They are all DLC for the game, and there's a couple other DLC packs you can buy on the PlayStation Store for the game, which is always good fun. Let's head out. Let's see how... Oh, let's head out and see what we can see out in the world. Oops, that's not what I want. Sorry, I'm just... there we go. Yeah, let's have a wander around this way. Up around here. And we'll head this way this time. Just have a bit more fight and battle, so you can get an idea, because I haven't shown off a lot of the action in this game. It's a bit... It's a game where you spend a fair bit of time out in the field. You actually... As the game's progressed, I've spent more and more time out in the field. This is, as you can tell by that open treasure chest and area we've been through, you actually do have to go through areas multiple times. That said... so let me bring up the map. Yeah, I can actually teleport there, so I can just do that. So I didn't even need to go there. You might notice too, load times in this game are freaking fast. It's really nice how quickly everything loads. That guy is going to attack us. I think actually I want to go up that path there. We'll kill this guy first. And that gave us a level up, which is nice. We'll go this way. In fact... Oh yeah, and you can adjust the minimap size. You can actually have it permanently that big if you prefer that, or even that zoomed in. Or the normal size. Yeah, we've got to go this way. Oh, yeah, I remember where we are. Yep. Yep. That's where you actually fight one of the first bosses in the game. I think I've gone the wrong way, though. I don't think there's any other way through this area. This may not be the area we're looking for. There is a climbable vine there, but we need an item. We need a particular item to actually climb that vine, so I can't climb it yet. That's fine. That's fine. We'll go back this way. I obviously did pick the wrong path. This, as you can tell, is a boss arena. Because of course it is. Oh, I know where I was going. Yep, I remember now. Okay. I think we have to fight this giant starfish thing again. So the way skills work in this game, you'll notice down the bottom right there, there's a sort of array of skills. There's a blue meter, which essentially is your skill points governor, and that builds up as you fight and kill enemies, and then you just expend it on skills. Skills do heaps of damage, and certain skills have different attributes and stuff like that. There's some really cool skills. They're really easy to use. You'll use them a lot. The yellow background there indicates your super move, which I did use before. You press both the guard and dodge buttons to do that. I actually find the super move really easy to pull off. By the way, that's guard and that's a dodge roll. So you do have a dodge roll in this game. And as I mentioned before, you get, if you time your guard or your dodge, you actually access your skills by holding the guard button down too, which is R1 to do that. So yeah. And then, yeah, once you've got this done. Oh, and the other thing you can do, and you'll notice I've done it here, is you can actually change which character just by pressing square, so you can just quickly cycle between characters. Sometimes you'll want to do that, and sometimes you won't. It all depends on you. Let's get this treasure chest, which gave us a right walnut. Yeah, that's kind of how the game spells it. Look, it's a JRPG with a, I would say, not quite perfect translation. There's a few... I have a few issues with this translation. I'm curious to know, actually, where the translations come from, because... it's a long time since I played a JRPG with a translation this sort of imperfect, I think. I mean, it's perfectly fine in terms of being playable and stuff, but yeah. Oh yeah, we get another one of these cool Eagle Rock cutscenes, sort of location cutscenes. These are great, actually. I really like the way that it has this, and it's kind of a shame that there's no... I don't think there's any... in fact, no, there is. Now I think about it. You have a journal that documents all this stuff. If I press that button and then go to journal, yeah, you have this, which will show you a whole bunch of different stuff, including all the voice acting in the game. For some reason, you can just cycle through all the voice acting based on location, but apparently you don't have one for the locations. Huh? That's interesting. That's actually really interesting. But the journal is really good. I really like the way this comes together. And it's got really nice art of everyone and everything, the characters and everything like that. And yeah, overall, I really, really like this journal. It's even got all the monsters that you've encountered. Although, it's a pity it doesn't use art, it just uses the 3D model. You can't even rotate that model, by the way, it's all locked in place, unfortunately. Which is a bit annoying, but that's fine. So, yeah. Anyway. Anyway, I might... I may as well get through this area a little bit. I was going to say I might leave it there, but there's a little bit more to go through. We've achieved a little bit of stuff here. I'll just head up this way. Oh, we want to go there, actually. Yeah, we want to go here. So I'll clear these enemies out, because there's a little thing here related to fishing that we should look at as well. So we'll do that. Here. Oh no, this isn't related to fishing, that's just the siren wheat. Get these down, which is cool. And you can see in the distance here, you can see the smoke from the fire at our base. As far as I can tell, you can see that from basically everywhere too, which is really cool. I think we'll keep going this way if we can. These dogs pose very little challenge. They're the first enemies you encounter in the game too, those dogs. Yeah, we come down into this area here, which is cool. And, yep, level up. Got to be careful in this area. This is where having those poison amulets would be really handy, because you can actually see, if you have a look at Adol's sort of health bar down there. In fact, I need to stand still for a moment to recover some health. If you have a look at his health bar down there, you can see that little circle above it. That is the poison debuff building up. This game actually uses Dark Souls style debuffing, where it has to build up before it becomes active on you. which is nice. Actually, it's really nice. And those resistance rings don't prevent you from getting it, but they stop you from... They stop it... They allow it to build up slower again, like Dark Souls. So I guess this is the Dark Souls of IS games? No. You know what? I think I will leave this video there. I've already gone a fair while on this game, and I can just teleport back to town. I've been playing this on a different login as well, or different PlayStation as well. So I'm a lot, like I say, I'm a lot further progressed, and I know what's coming, and I've just realised that it's going to be fun and hard, and I don't want to get into it in a video, so we're going to leave this here for now. I hope you all enjoyed this look at IS 8. The Lacrimosa of Dana. Dana, by the way, is an actual character that you encounter in dreams that Adol has. So there's a whole thing about Adol's dreams that he's having on this island. So yeah. Anyway, that's IS 8. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.